Hello and welcome back to the Revelwood series on tips and tricks in Excel. My name is Emery Sinclair. I'm going to show you a couple of quick tips here and tricks on navigation. So we've talked about a couple of methods of navigation using mostly name ranges in my prior videos. This one we're going to go a little step further. And in this navigation what we're going to do is build a button. And I know a lot of people stop and think, well, I build a button, I've got to have some level of VBA knowledge or something like that. But there really is a good quick trick here on building a button without having any of that knowledge and using exactly what you already know in Excel today. So what we're going to do is actually duplicate this button. You notice if I push this button it goes to another tab, and that other tab brings off a table of contents. So essentially what we're doing is going from one button to table of contents page. We're going to duplicate that, and it's a lot easier than you may think. Essentially what I'll try to do is make the exact same looking button so that you can follow along, understand what I'm doing. I'm going to make a shaded area of cells the same size as the table of contents. That'll be our starting point. We'll go in here and we'll make it gray, and it looks like to be that color gray. So now I've made a gray square, and now what I want to do is put a border around that gray square. Again, all I'm doing right now is drawing what the button looks like, and again, I'm not using one of the objects in Excel to do that. I'm actually doing it directly within the product itself, or within Excel itself. So I'm going to come in here and create a border. And my border on the bottom is going to be dark, and it's going to make it a little thicker, and you're going to see why that has an effect in a moment here. And I'm going to make a right border with that as well. And then for the top, I'm actually going to switch to white. So for the top line and the left line, it's going to be white. You see that a little bit in the button that's built here. I'm going to hit OK. And what we have now is an actual shaded area of squares that looks like a working button. Now if you notice when I hover over this one, it looks like I've depressed the button. Same thing's going to happen here, and that's a natural function of how Excel views when you're the cursor on a certain grid line. The next thing we need to do here is merge these cells together so they act as one. So now we've done that, and now you notice that effect truly. It looks like I'm depressing the button. From here I can type whatever I want on here. I'm going to use the same type of thing. We'll call it contents, and we're going to want to format it to look like the one above it. I'm assuming that's probably something like this. I believe I'm using the same font. Maybe I've got it a little bit bigger, but there you can see we've now created the look of that button. So now the whole VBA issue of using that to navigate somewhere, we can actually just call it a hyperlink. And you can call it a hyperlink. We can pick anywhere in this area. I'm actually going to use the same thing as before. We're going to use a cell reference, a hyperlink to it. I create my cell reference, and the only thing that you see different now is it has that typical hyperlink look to it, that blue underlined. And all that is a cell property or a formatting property. So if I come up here and I choose my color of my font, I can choose that black again, and I can hit OK, and then I can ununderline it. And now you'll note I'm going to have to go back and put my formatting back on it a bit. So we will do that. And there you have it. We now have a button that should automatically send us back. You'll note the button pushing, or the hyperlink symbol there. And I hit my hyperlink. I got to hit the right key, and you'll see it'll go right to the table of contents. So just a quick navigational trick for those that don't want to actually have to know how to learn to program a button, and that you can actually just make a button through the hyperlink function. And I just showed you hyperlinking to a cell reference. This is available anywhere else. I can call this unit sales wherever I want to be. And I can right click and again do that hyperlink. And I'm going back into this to show you that you have a few options with hyperlink I don't think everybody really utilizes. We can use define names within the spreadsheet itself, and I'm going to show you an example of that. And we can do cell references. So I know I have a cell reference called unit sales. I'll hit OK. When I hit unit sales, it's going to go to my unit sales cell reference. The other option here for navigation is to use these hyperlinks to go to actual named ranges within a sheet. So you'll notice I've got a financial statement sheet here. It's a long list of accounts that's broken off by a P&L and a balance sheet. And depending on which link and where I want to hyperlink to a named range, I have the ability to go right directly to that section of that workbook. So in this case, balance sheet happens to be halfway down named range in the spreadsheet. So just another option you have there for navigation. You can create buttons in which you can mimic the functionality of a VBA script to point toward an area. and you can format that button to look just like one of those VBA buttons. And you can also use name ranges in other ways within spreadsheets or for entire sheets within a workbook. I hope you found this tip useful, and I thank you for joining us.